About a week ago, I did my first vision quest, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit about in this video. So currently I'm in Pisac, Peru, where I've been working with plant medicines, especially ayahuasca, mushrooms, wachuma, and a few other medicines as well. So during this time, I've done quite a few different ceremonies with different people, and I've had some great experiences, but probably the pinnacle of this trip over the last month and a half has been my vision quest, which it was 3 days without food or water, sitting in solitude in a teepee. So generally a vision quest is part of the Red Road, which is a shamanic tradition in South America. However, it's sort of a mix between different traditions all over the Americas. So essentially a traditional vision quest is a 4-day fast. So no food, no water. You sit on a mountain by yourself in solitude in a little enclosure surrounded by tobacco prayers, essentially. So you can't leave the space, you can't really do anything. The whole purpose is to essentially starve yourself and parch yourself to the extent that you start having visions and you start experiencing different things and cultivate a deeper connection with your own soul and your own consciousness. Because, you know, when we in everyday life, we are always distracting ourselves. We always have something to do, which really subtracts from the experience of just experiencing consciousness and experiencing ourselves. Generally, the Red Road is a series of vision quests where each consecutive vision quest gets longer and longer, to the point that you're really getting towards that doorway of death, which is essentially a necessary part of being on the shamanic path and learning to work with shamanic medicines and these spirits, because of course a shaman is sort of a mediary between these different realms of consciousness and can work with them. So generally speaking, the first vision quest is 4 days, the second one is 7 days, the third one is 9 days, and the fourth one is 13 days, and you return to the same mountain once a year to do each consecutive vision quest. Of course, you can't do the following one unless you complete the previous one, so you wouldn't be able to do the 9-day vision quest unless you successfully complete the 7-day vision quest. And then after that, you have a series of dances, or spirit dances, or sun dances, whatever you want to call them. And then you can get the blessing to work with either ayahuasca or wachuma, depending on what you're feeling called to work with. So the vision quest that I did was a alteration of the Red Road and incorporates other traditions as well. So mine was only 3 days for my first one, and that was in a teepee, so I wasn't exposed to the elements. It was, generally speaking, easier than the traditional Red Road, just because it was 3 days. I was in a teepee, I could make fire, so I at least had something, while generally speaking, the Red Road, you don't have any of these things. You are completely exposed to all the elements, and you know, you have really nothing with you, so you can't do anything. You have to just sit there. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience and sort of what I went through with it. So the first day, I was planted in the teepee, and I was left with some firewood. And yeah, pretty much I was told that every day or every night, the shaman would come over to bring me a little bit of babensana, which is essentially a shot of, it's a plant medicine, it's considered a sacred plant medicine, but it's quite subtle. Babensana is supposedly a heart opener, so it helps you just open up your channels and open up your heart. So every night they would come in, give me about a shot of babensana. I'd put on a blindfold to protect my energy and not see anyone as sort of they do this process. They'd ring a little bell before they come into the teepee, so I'd know when they're there and to put on the blindfold. So the first day was pretty easy. I was really just relaxing, spending some time with my own thoughts and feelings, not really doing too much. Started to get a little bit thirsty towards the end of the night, but there wasn't much at all. It wasn't much of a challenge. I didn't sleep well, of course, because it was very cold. I'm up in the mountains, about 3,400 meters in Maska, which is about 20 minutes away from Pisac. So it was quite cold during the nights, but I did have a fire to keep me warm, at least as long as I sustained it. Um, so the second day is when I started to feel quite thirsty, quite hungry, mostly thirsty. That really started to overpower it. And again, it wasn't too much of a problem, but it did start to sneak in, especially towards the night as I started to get the fire going. At one point, I did stand up and I saw this like star moving out that was sort of just moving around in circles. And I actually fainted and sort of had this vision, which was interesting because as I was sort of collapsing, I caught myself and just ended up falling to the ground on my back, and my whole vision sort of faded over, and I just felt very like strange. But I remember lying there looking at the top of the teepee and realizing that, this is the vision quest. I'm actually in the middle of it right now. And I felt like that was the actual initiation right there, because the day before that, it's sort of just like I was sitting by myself in silence. I was a little bit bored. I'm like, oh, I don't really know what to expect from this, why I'm here, why I'm doing this. But that second day when that happened, when I was lying on the floor looking at the top of the teepee, that's when I really felt like, oh, okay, I'm actually here, this is happening, and this is why I'm here, to have an experience, to get deeper into myself and understand myself more, and just learn different characteristics and attributes that are necessary to walk this path, such as humility, strength, endurance. So when I woke up from that, I sort of just sat down and reflected on my experiences. A bit later that night, again, I had some more babamsana. I didn't feel too much, but just like a little bit of liquid did sort of help. I did look forward to it when it came. And the third day is when I really started to feel thirsty. So I started to get a little bit, I wouldn't say anxious, but just feeling not great. I'm like, oh, my body's sort of feeling a bit intense right now, and I don't have anything to distract myself. I can't do anything because, if you're fasting for a while, for a few days, generally you're going to have something at least to distract yourself. You can watch a movie, you can do something, you can walk around, you can sightsee. But the purpose of the vision quest is to remove all of that. So you're removing all of your stimulus and removing everything, every distraction from your life, including food and water and anything that you can take, to really sit with that experience of consciousness and get deeper into it. So that's when I started just really sitting with my thoughts and feelings and going deeper into how my body felt, what it was trying to tell me, what my emotions felt, what my intuition was telling me. But I knew I'd be fine. I knew I was in a good place. And, it's just 3 days without food or water. It's not the end of the world. I wasn't desperate by any means or anything at this point. I was just starting to get to a point where it wasn't feeling good, and I was starting to think about water a lot. I was starting to just have a lot of memories from my past come up. I'm playing through different things in my life, playing through different emotions, which was good to actually, really start going through them and sorting these out. And same thing, so I didn't get much sleep over these few days, especially as the vision quest progressed. As I was getting more and more thirsty, I got less sleep because I was just thinking about water and waking up regularly thinking about water and so forth. So the fourth day is when it really started to get to me. So the sun was coming out, and of course you have no time on you or anything like that, so it sort of plays with your mind a little bit because you don't know what time it is or when you're supposed to get picked up, or you sort of start losing your mind to some lesser extent. And I was starting to almost feel a little bit paranoid. I'm like, I don't know whether they're forgetting about me because it feels like it's past the morning. I don't know how long it's been. Am I going to be here for another day? Even though rationally I knew that I wouldn't be. The community and the shaman I was working with well knew that I was in the vision quest. They're coming there every night. So rationally I knew I would be picked up, but a different part of your mind starts coming out and playing with you during these experiences when you don't have food or water. So I was starting to go through the emotions and just feeling a bit jittery and just like, I'm feeling a bit not great right now. I'm really looking forward to just getting picked up and finishing this vision quest. So eventually I heard the bell outside, and it was a huge relief because I knew this was the ending of the vision quest. The community that I was working with at the time, they all came in. I said a few words about my experiences, although I was still integrating the experience. We walked back to the community, which was about 10 minutes away, where I had some water. And for the next 3 days, I was on a dieta. Again, so just very, very bland food, no salt, no sugar, nothing like that for the next 3 days after the dieta, because I was working with the plant medicine Bobinsana. And I actually broke that rule about 2 days into the dieta. So of course, for 3 days they say you need to eat like no sugar, no salt, no coffee, pretty much no impurity to your body, because the medicine of Bobinsana is still working through it. And on the second day, I'm like, I just want food, I'm hungry, and I want something that actually has taste. So I did go into the city of Pisac and had some food and had a hamburger and had a beer. And then I ended up regretting it, because about 2 days ago, I had this violent burst of what felt like food poisoning. So I got very, very sick. I was throwing up about every half an hour, from about 4 a.m. to maybe 11 a.m. Pretty much not sleeping at all. And I just felt very, very sick. I had no energy left in me. Of course, diarrhea as well. It felt like a bad spout of food poisoning. But what was interesting is that during this experience, I had a couple visions of what I consider Lady Bobinsana, because suddenly I'd have this flash of this woman sitting there, and she almost had like all this decor on, but it's almost like jungly, and she looked like some sort of like jungle princess. I don't know how I would describe it, and it only lasted for a few seconds, but every time I saw her pop up, it almost looked like she was waving her head like this, and I got the message that, you shouldn't have disrespected this dieta or disrespected me. Now I need to purge everything out, and I need to cleanse your body the hard way, because I didn't respect the dieta and the medicine was still working through my body, going through such a delicate process of the vision quest. So I really learnt my lesson from that, and then I just got hit by everything. I had this pretty big fever for about a day, and I sort of just went through all of these different things with my body, I guess just purging all these different energies. And as I said, 2 times I saw that lady, sort of just a vision of her pop up, the same thing, just like, you shouldn't have done that, and then like I'd start throwing up again. And the interesting thing is, when I was sort of saying, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have disrespected you, that's when it really the nausea started to die down, and I actually could rest a little bit and recover my strength and get some sleep. So what I learned from that is that these spirits are real, these plant medicines are real, because this isn't my first time as well working with sacred plant medicines where, maybe I've done something that disrespected them, and I suffered the repercussions of doing so. And it does seem like these spirits are intelligent, they're conscious, they're aware of what you're doing, they're aware of who you are, because you have consummated them when you drink the medicine. They're in your body, they're in your energy field, they are in tune, you are calibrated with them. So if you are doing something such as disrespecting the dieta or their rules, or doing something that doesn't work with that spirit or that energy, then you might start to see that it does have repercussions in some sort of way. So it was quite a long process over like 6 days, eating barely any food at all, and then throwing up violently for a day and just going through all of these processes, both internal, physical, purging. But that was just the first vision quest. So as I learn more about this and I keep walking this path, I will be returning to this mountain once a year for 4 years, just to do each consecutive vision quest and, you know, really learn how to work with these energies and these spirits and these medicines a little bit more, because there is a lot out there when we come to the whole shamanic field and we come to shamanic healing. I think a lot of people just, you sort of see the surface level of it. You just see a fragment of what it really is on some sort of video, or maybe you go to some ceremony and you're sort of like, oh, I'm a little bit skeptical of this. Just a bunch of people singing around the ceremony, giving people drugs. But the more you get involved with these traditions and these ceremonies and these spaces and these communities, the more you start to see that there's different layers of information here, and there's a lot. It's sort of like a rabbit hole of information that you get deeper and deeper and deeper into. And following the Red Road or Master Plant Dietas or different traditions is really a way to get deeper into this rabbit hole and start understanding these different energies and these spirits and these medicines more, and gaining a different perspective on it. And of course, we can't really do that unless we strip everything away and really just get to the bare bones of our own consciousness, where we can have an audience with these medicines without the distractions, without these opposing energies, without different things playing a role in our lives that may take away from the experience in some sort of regards. So for anyone who is involved in the medicine space in Latin America and you are looking to deepen your knowledge and your understanding, you can always, there are different places where you can do vision quests around. I know places in Ecuador and Peru and a place in Mexico, and there are, you know, you will find these places. It's not an easy path to walk, and of course I've only done one vision quest. It's going to get harder and harder and harder as I continue walking this path, but it is very rewarding and fulfilling as well. And again, it's only been a little bit over a week since I did this vision quest, but I am still integrating the experience, and it seems like it is sort of unfolding into my life, because I do keep having, I'm having a lot of dreams, I'm having a lot of memories come back. I keep having sort of like visuals or visions just with my eyes closed, and things that are flashing into my consciousness, which I didn't really have before. So I do feel like this process is starting to unlock things, and I'm excited to go deeper into this process and really explore just the depths of this, because there is a lot to untangle here, there's a lot to go into, and there's an infinite well of knowledge in all of us that we can access, that we can delve into just through the right training, through the right traditions, through the right modalities. And, you know, we all pick our own paths into spirituality. Not everyone is interested in shamanic healing, of course. Some people are interested in just meditation or yoga or doing different modalities around the world. It doesn't really matter what you want to do. What matters is that you pick a pathway that resonates with you, and you just follow that pathway and go deeper into it, because that is where you really start to discover yourself and discover the true nature of who you are underneath all of these patterns and programs and mindsets and everything that has been built into us from childhood, that you really strip that away and see the core of what you are. And this is where you start connecting with a deeper part of your own reality and your own consciousness, where you do start unlocking things, where you do start cultivating these connections to other realms of consciousness and spirits and deities and entities and a lot of crazy stuff out there. So I'm going to wrap up this video now. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about this experience, and I hope you learned something about it. But with that said, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day. Take care of yourself. Thank you very much.